Good afternoon, dear students. I welcome you all to the class of TYBSc. It's your final year of graduation. I'll introduce myself. I am Amol Handore, working as an assistant professor at Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nasik. I will be taking care of your paper number 1, that is Animal Systematics and Diversity, paper 5. So in your previous years, you have already studied animal systematics. In this year, we will study the animal systematics with some model organisms. So I know this paper is quite theoretical, but I will try to ensure that I will make it simpler and you will understand the concept in a better sense. So let's begin with our unit number 1, that is study of Phyla globosa, which is commonly known as apple snail. In this today we will get an overview of the phylum Mollusca, its general characters and the significance. Hello students, let's start with our first topic of syllabus, that is general characters and introduction to phylum Mollusca. So after completing today's lecture, the study outcomes will be we should understand the meaning of Mollusca, introduction to the phylum Mollusca, general characters of the phylum Mollusca, and economic importance of mollusk, followed by the harmful mollusk. So phylum Mollusca includes all the soft-bodied animals. So if we see the literal meaning of mollusk, it means soft-bodied animals. So in Latin, mollusca is equal to name of a soft nut with thin shell, or which generally includes the soft-bodied animals. So you can remember, like, mollusks are the soft-bodied animals which are most of the times having a shell. So it is a large phylum of invertebrates. So we know that molluscans are invertebrate animals which includes clams, snails, slugs, octopods, nautilus, mussels. They are triploblastic, having 3 germ layers. They show bilateral symmetry and they have the presence of anus and coelom without any segmentation. Okay, so they are triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical with anus and coelom, but segmentation is absent in the body. Usually they have shells which is protective in function, and they have a characteristic muscular foot. So we'll be looking at it in the further slides. So let's introduce with the phylum Mollusca. First of all, this is the second largest phylum in the entire animal kingdom after Arthropoda. So Arthropoda is the largest kingdom, followed by the Mollusca. And if we see when they come into existence, so if we see the geological time scale, they come into existence in the early Cambrian time. If we see the diversity, there are around 1 lakh living species of mollusk and 35,000 fossil species are recorded. That means which were present in the previous geological time. Out of these, about 80,000 mollusks, they belong to the gastropoda. Now, very important characteristic feature of mollusks is they show, or rather most of them show, the presence of hard calcareous shell, and due to which most of the mollusks, so we have seen around 35,000 fossil species. This is because they have a calcareous shell, they are preserved in a better sense as a fossils. Now study of mollusk is called as malacology. So you can remember, study of mollusk is malacology. If we see their distribution, they are widely distribution and they are found in land, fresh water, as well as in the sea water, that is salty water. They are very common on the coastlines except in the region of extreme cold. So they do not tolerate extreme cold condition like Arctic or the poles. So you can't find them in very cold conditions. However, they are most abundant in the tropics because tropical conditions are very good for their survival. You have an abundance of sunlight as well as the temperature and other climatic conditions are quite suitable in the tropics. They show a very great diversity in their form, structure, habits and habitat. So a different type of mollusk we will see later on. Nextly, they are highly adaptive and occupy all possible aquatic and terrestrial habitat except aerial. Now, all these mollusks they are found, or they are rather amphibious. They spend some of their life in water and some of the life on the land. So they are aquatic as well as terrestrial, but you do not have any aerial or flying mollusk. Now, if we see their body, they have a soft unsegmented body with very slippery skin. Why the skin is slippery? Because they have a mucus secretion from their body or skin, and they are mostly sheltered in a hard calcareous shell. So this shell here you can see like acts as a protective covering for this mollusk because they do not have any organs of offense and defense, so they require this calcareous shell. So this shell not only protective in function, it also prevent the desiccation of animal, particularly in landforms. So desiccation here means the breakdown of the body. Each species possesses a shell of its own peculiar shape and marking. So every species have a peculiar type of a shell. Now these shells are also important from taxonomic point of view. So in classification of the mollusk in further classes, the shape of the shell plays a very important role. Now we see the shell in mollusca. You must have seen different types of mollusks, how amazingly beautiful attractive shells they possess. So they can be easily preserved because they are made up of calcium carbonate, they are quite hard, and you have so much diversity in the shape and sizes of the shell of mollusk. Yeah, here you can see how diversity in the shell can be seen, different shaped shells. So there is a great variation in shape and size of the shell. Each species possesses its own particular or peculiar shape of the shell, as well as there are certain markings. So you can identify the mollusk based on the shell itself. Now this study of molluscan shell is called as conchology. So if you remember, we called study of mollusk as malacology, study of molluscan shell is called as conchology. Now this shell may be univalved, that is having a single valve, or it can be bivalved, like having two valves. Okay, so univalved or bivalved shell. So here you can see some more example of univalved shell and some bivalved shell. You can see some bivalved shells. Now there can be different shapes. They can be spiral in shaped. The shell can be cone shaped. Okay, so you can see the pictures of spiral type of a shell and a cone type of a shell. Now, if we see their feeding, they feed on any possible food. They prefer to feed onto the plant material. So majority of them are herbivorous, but some of them are carnivorous as well as parasitic in nature. So if the herbivorous food is not present, or rather plant food material is not present, they can also switch and become the carnivores. We have already seen they are diverse in form and size. So you can have a smaller mollusk like chitons, which are having a size of hardly 1.5 to 30 centimeter. So you have a giant mollusk like squid. So you can see the size. They are as large as 6 meter and having a tentacles which are 10.5 meter long. So this is the giant squid. Okay, now we move on to the next part of our topic, that is what are the general characteristics of mollusk. Now first, if we see their habitat, they are mostly aquatic, or rather essentially they are aquatic. Most of the mollusks are marine, they prefer to live in sea, and very few species are the freshwater species and terrestrial. Now if we see the level of organization, they have a tissue system grade of organization. If you see the body characteristics, body is triploblastic, having all the 3 germ layers. They are coelomate, having the coelomic cavity, unsegmented body. So body do not show any segmentation except in the monoplacophora where you have a segmented body, and body is bilaterally symmetrical. So you must be aware of what is meant by bilateral symmetry. So body can be divided only through one axis. Now if we see division of the body, there are 3 divisions like head, foot, mantle and the visceral mass. Now what are these? We will study in more detail in our subsequent lectures. Body is covered by the calcareous shell which is secreted by the mantle. So this is a muscular fold and which constitute the exoskeleton. So in most of the mollusks, the shell is like a exoskeleton. It gives the protective function. However, in some mollusks, the shell can be internal as well. We see some more characters of the mollusk. The shell may be bivalved, univalved, spiral or cone-like. It can be internal or reduced or even absent in the some. So we have already seen this. What is mean by absent? That in some mollusks the shell is entirely absent, in some it is quite reduced and just present in the internal body, and most of them it is outside the body, protective in function. If we see the foot, it is always ventrally situated. It is quite thick, muscular, and it is locomotory organ, and it has various functions. So what are those functions? It can be modified for creeping type of a behavior, burrowing or swimming. So depending on the habitat where it is living, it can be modified. Now if you see the structure of head is distinct, bearing terminal mouth, eyes, tentacle and other sensory organs. So we'll see this later on in phyla. However, head is absent in 2 classes, that is Palaeopoda and Scaphopoda. Mantle, which is also known by the terminology pilium, is a very thick muscular fold of the body wall. Okay, so remember, mantle is the thick muscular fold of the body wall which covers the visceral mass both from the dorsal and lateral side. Now what is this mantle and pilium? We will study in more details in Phyla globosa, so don't worry. Mantle consists of single lobe, or sometimes it can consist of 2 lobes. Okay. Then body cavity is known as hemocoel. True coelom though present, but it is reduced and it is confined to the some body cavities like pericardium near the heart, nephridia near the kidneys and gonadal cavities. So here only you can see the coelom which is reduced. If we see the alimentary canal, it is simple and straight type. Most of the mollusks you see a U-shaped alimentary canal, or it can be coiled one as well. Pharynx, if this pharynx is also contains a rasping organ which is called as a radula, except in the bivalves. Now what is mean by rasping organ? It is like a tongue-like structure which is helpful to capture its food. Gills or ctenidia are the respiratory organ. So they show both dual type of a respiration, that is they can respire on the land, that is aerial respiration. They can also respire on the in the water. So gills and ctenidia both are present as the respiratory organs. So lung is present in the terrestrial forms for the respiration. So if it is a terrestrial form, it will have lungs which are formed, and some form even respire by the epidermis. So the layer of the skin, epidermis, also can act as a respiratory organ. We move on to the other systems. The circulatory system in mollusk is open type except in cephalopods, so which show the closed type of a system. However, in other classes, the circulatory system is always open. Now, if we see the blood, it is colorless. Sometimes it can be red, blue, or green colored as well. Hemocyanin is a respiratory pigment which contains copper compound. So this copper compound basically gives this a particular color to this, and it is referred to as hemocyanin. Now next system, excretory system. If we see, the excretion is brought about by one or two pair of sac-like kidneys. Also the kidney is referred to as a metanephridia. Now these kidneys are also true coelomoducts, and they communicate to the exterior by the what is called as nephridiopore. Now if we come to the nervous system, it is basically a ganglionated type of a nervous system. There is presence of different type of ganglia. So you have paired cerebral ganglion, pleural, pedal, and visceral type of ganglion. All these ganglions, they are joined by a commissures and connectives. So we will be studying nervous system of phyla. That time we will study it in more details. Ganglion are usually from the what is called as a circumcentric ring. Now if we come to the sense organs of mollusk, eyes, tentacles, ospiridium, and statocyst act like a sense organs. So we'll study them in phyla in detail. Sexes are usually separate. Okay, so you have a separate male and female, that is they are dioecious. However, some mollusks are hermaphrodite, that is they are monoecious. That means only both the sexes are present in one animal, and few of them are protantric. If you see the fertilization, it can be external or internal. So both type of fertilization is present in the mollusk. Now they are mostly oviparous and few of them are viviparous. So since they have both type of fertilization, this ovipary and vivipary can be seen. So we know that viviparous is directly giving birth to the completely developed individual. Now in the developmental stages, if we see the segmentation or cleavage, it is spiral type of a cleavage, determinate, unequal, and total type of a cleavage is seen in the mollusk. Development can be either direct or with metamorphosis. So what is meant by metamorphosis? There are intermediate larval stages. So you can see different type of larval stages like Procophores larva, Veliger larva. So many subsequent stages are present in the metamorphosis of the mollusk. Okay, just you have already studied these classes of phylum Mollusca. So we just see the names and example of some classes. So first class is class Monoplacophora. Example is Neopilina. Second class of phylum mollusk is Amphineura. Example is Chaetoderma. Third class is Scaphopoda. Example is Dentalium. Fourth class is Gastropoda. Example is Phyla or Cypria. So from this Gastropoda, we will be studying Phyla in more detail in the subsequent lectures. Next class, that is class number 5, is Palicypoda. Example are Unio and Mytilus. Next class or the final class, that is cephalopoda. Example are squid, sepia, nautilus and octopus. Okay, now we move on to the next part, that is economic importance of mollusk. So you must have studied this in SYBSC. Thus, that mollusks have different economic uses. They are not only useful but harmful as well. So in next slide we'll see how they are harmful. We know that there are 1 lakh species of mollusks which are of economic importance to human beings. So the major use of mollusk is as food. So they serve as a great source of food in different parts of the world. So many species of mollusks like clams, oysters, mussels, scallops, squids, they are considered as a delicacy and they form a part of the human food in different coastal areas as well as the other parts of the world. Out of them, scallops and mussels are like eaten in very high quantity in Japan, China, Europe and America. Other economic importance of uses in industry, the shells of these mollusks are used for different purposes like in button making industry, knife handles and even in the other ornamental objects. So you must have seen different ornamental things which are made up of the seashells on the coastal areas. Shells are also nowadays used for the road construction activities. Many species of these pearl oysters provide us with the beautiful pearls. So in SY you must have studied the different species of pearl oysters. Mollusk shell is also used in the poultry feed because it is a rich source of calcium carbonate. So it is used in the poultry feed as well. Okay, we come to the last part of our topic, that is harmful mollusks. So as we see, they are useful mollusks. There are some species of mollusks which are harmful to humankind. Some are directly harmful. So these include slugs and shipworms. So these shipworms, they cause damage to your ships. And these slugs, they are very much injurious to your gardens and your agricultural cultivation. So they do not only eat the leaves, but they also destroy the entire plant by cutting their roots and stems. So your entire garden or your entire cultivation can be devastated by this mollusk. Then this teredo, commonly known as the shipworm mollusk, which burrows into the wooden structures of the ship and it causes the serious damage to the ship. So the entire wooden material of the ship is damaged by this teredo, which is commonly known as a shipworm mollusk. Okay, so these are the major damages which are caused by the harmful mollusk. So with this, we conclude today's lecture on general characters and introduction to mollusca. I hope you have understood what is meant by mollusca, what are the general characters of the mollusca, what is the economic importance, how they are useful to the humankind, as well as there are some harmful mollusks which cause damage to the human beings. So with this, we conclude today's first lecture on general introduction to mollusca. I thank you for your active participation and the patience here.